Here at the BQN Network, we support and express solidarity for all of the writers and actors that have brought us the stories we passionately speak about. We continue to show love to all that are fighting the good fight for the WGA, SAG-AFTRA, and any upcoming strikes. We stand with you. You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I am your host, Amy, and with me today, full house, we have Mark, Christos, and Kelvin. Hello there, Mark. How are you?
Hey, Amy. Great to see you. I'm doing very well. Busy week, but doing good. How about yourself?
Not so busy being retired, but absolutely enjoying the wonderful weather here. It's a great time to be living in Las Vegas. We've been just beautiful weather. Not too hot. Things are cooling down. Yes. Hello, Christos.
Hello, Miss Amy. How are you?
Good. What's new in your neck of the woods?
Oh, I've been using my Spore Drive to get around a lot lately.
Yeah.
Palm Springs, Chicago, but I think it broke and I might get to stay home for a little while. So kind of happy about that. And within the next 4 weeks, I got 3 episodes of What's the Tea that I've planned. So kind of excited to get back on that for, call it the fall season.
There you go. And Kelvin, my dear, how are you?
Hello, my love. I'm very jealous at all of your not working and lovely weather because I've been doing lots of working and lots of traveling in awful weather. So I'd kill to be in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, I really don't know how you live without seeing the sunshine as much as I do. It blows my mind. I see your pictures and it's, gloomy.
We have to find other ways of brightening up our day.
That's true.
Star Trek.
Star Trek, exactly. Well, you guys, we had another episode of Lower Decks, so let's get to it.
This is the bridge. All hands to emergency escape pods.
Escape
Mark.
pod.
You just leave me hanging every time.
Well, I didn't know if somebody else wants to yell it. I keep thinking somebody else wants to say it.
It's your thing, Mark.
Yes.
Okay,
well, we had episode 4 of season 4, Something Borrowed, Something Green. You guys, I thought this was a very fun episode, and I love when they pair different, characters together, and we had the girls and the guys, and I just thought it was wonderful. Christos?
Were you not getting like major Charlie's Angels vibes from like Mariner, T'Lyn, and Tendi? I'm like, I like that trio together a lot.
Yes.
And T'Lyn, yeah, I like her so much. I think we saw more of her this episode than we ever have, really. And I was like, I really like that.
Who would have thought that Vulcans are so great for comedy? Because not only what we get here with T'Lyn, but also with Spock in Strange New Worlds, they're both played for comedy so much, and it's genius.
Yeah, I got real Valaris vibes from her all of a sudden. I mean, I know they have the same haircut, but kind of Valaris is a little more pragmatic. Remember, even before she was revealed as the traitor, but she was a little bit more of a pragmatic Vulcan and kind of to go along a little bit more with the hijinks of sabotage and a little bit more creative with that. So I'm getting real Valaris vibes from T'Lyn.
Well, if you're getting Kim Cattrall vibes, maybe it's the Sex and the City girls, not Charlie's Angels.
It's a true story.
Yeah, and I loved all the stereotypical, and just Tendi was so, I guess, ashamed and didn't want to have the truth come out, wherein you are putting forth a totally different persona of what you grew up with, to separate those cultures and then to have them clashing and meeting each other. That's a hard place to be. I could definitely relate to Tendi.
I think this is the first time we've ever seen Orion, right?
Oh,
They've never gone to the planet before. So, and obviously, what a big deep dive into Tendi's backstory.
Yeah, they even addressed it in the dialogue, saying we're getting so much backstory on you this week.
You know what's funny is they modeled the planet off from the, I guess, dream imagery from The Cage when they're having the Orion slave girls parade in front of Pike. It's like that whole background that's sort of like almost Grecian. That's the way that they made the planet look. But I got the ties to that from The Cage.
Yeah, and they also, there was elements of the end of season 1 of Discovery when they go down to the Orion kind of market on Kronos. It had all of those vibes, especially once they started getting into the brothel.
Yes. Oh my gosh, those pheromones jokes were hilarious. Sniffing the armpit.
Moans,
oh my
moans.
Moans, yes.
I love that Tendi like sciences her way to like, I can shut you down, man. I can make all of this stuff not work, and then your whole empire crumbles.
Well, one thing we haven't mentioned, I think, the last few weeks is the very short treks. We have not actually commented. And I want to bring it up because unlike the bulk of the fan base, it seems, I have laughed my booty off at all of them for various reasons. But I'm also, I think I mentioned, a fan of like Sea Lab 2021 and that whole adult comedy on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, that whole thing. Robot Chicken. I like that kind of humor. So for me, I find it hilarious, and I wish they would make a show about it. But yeah, even this one was a little gross with the boogers, but it was cool to see Dr. Crusher, and yeah, it was.
I love my Dr. Crusher. I was so excited that Gates was doing one of these, and then to have it be, it was okay. She's got to team up with Riker. The whole like
Bill,
Dr.
she
Crusher,
teamed
Riker's
up with Bill.
Oh yeah, and that was I think that was very intentional from season 1 when Deanna calls him Bill.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not like lowbrow potty humor at all. I think it's classless, and I can't stand it.
Don't yuck my yum. Because it brings me joy. Just saying.
Yeah,
I know everybody, it's just not my cup of tea, is what I'm saying.
I find it funny that you called it adult humor, Mark, because I found it so puerile and childish.
Oh, well, no, it's Adult Swim. It's on Cartoon Network. They have what's called Adult Swim, and so late at night on the Cartoon Network here in the States, they play shows that are geared towards, adults, and they're usually really raunchy and filthy, and I love them.
I mean,
as I love
raunchy and filthy, or elementary school type jokes. That's the difference. I mean, it can be raunchy and filthy, but like I said, this is like it felt to me like elementary type school humor. Like that's what kids joke about, and and it's just gross.
Right. So that's the opinion. It's like, well, yeah, kids are laughing at it. That's what makes it funny, I think, is what Mark is saying. That it's like it's so juvenile that it's they definitely, I'm not poo-pooing them or boogering them.
No pun intended.
Yeah. I am coming at it from the perspective of this is an exercise in absurdity. Like, how absurd can we go? So I'm enjoying it for the creativity and like, how do people's minds even think like this? Because it's so foreign to me. I don't want a whole show about them, but I'm happy to see them and see this creativity come out.
At least for 3 minutes is what.
Yes.
I as the person who's keeping tabs on things, like, okay, Dr. Crusher's been in Next Generation, movies, Prodigy, Picard, and now a very short trek. I'm very happy for that, because for the longest time it was just TNG. Right. I mean, up until like 2 years ago. I'm happy about that. Like I said, glad that Gates is being tasked to do more and more. Happy for the representation of Dr. Crusher. And at the end, what's funny when Bill decides to just phase her off. Yeah, you didn't make warp. We're out of here.
Yeah.
You guys are gross. And I thought the part about the commentary of stinky fish in the microwave, that's a commentary on
funny.
real office stuff that goes on. I thought that was funny because I'm yes, that happens and it's disgusting. And they're making the allegory that it is disgusting. And I'm like, okay, I like that.
It's a planet of people that put fish in the microwave.
I can't come on your ship. I did think that part was okay, but like I said, I think the whole booger talk is just too much.
Okay, so who here has taken fish to the lunchroom and warmed it up?
I was just about to say I've done that at work. It's not something I will ever do again. But I was on a holiday diet at one point, and I was also just microwaving broccoli to eat with hot sauce. And microwave broccoli smells almost as bad. So that's also something else I won't do now.
Agreed. Oh my gosh, broccoli is or asparagus. That does not warm up well either.
Doesn't come out the other end well either.
There's
some lowbrow humor for you.
I did like the very short trek with the holiday party.
Oh my goodness. Was Spock?
Yes.
Oh,
where
Lord.
He's trying a blooper reel.
Great.
I thought that was
funny.
Okay.
I had to put that together. I was like, okay, I've seen them all, but I just tell me what that was about.
That was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was
so hard.
very fitting, and the humor, although dark and deathly, morbid, but just I don't know. I thought it was funny. I like that one the best. That's been my favorite one.
It was the least offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all just a little bit, and the one where Kirk doesn't look like Kirk,
it's not Kirk though. They just refer to him as Captain.
Yeah,
he's credited as Captain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
Oh my gosh, there's more ways to skin a cat. What? Oh, that was fun. Oh my gosh, that was funny too. Okay, but wait, go back to Lower Decks. What was Boimler and Rutherford? What were they doing?
They were doing the Mark Twain in the holodeck.
Right.
They were also having roommate issues over who gets to water the bonsai or miss the bonsai tree. Yeah.
Now, who was that alien that ate the bonsai? Do we know them?
That's a TNG alien.
Yeah, it's it's not the same guy, but there was Esok the Chalnoth in Allegiance.
Got it.
So it was that alien. I always found it really weird that they did a Playmates action figure of the Chalnoth. And it just shows the point in time when they were making them, because there was a lot of one-off aliens of the week that got their own action figure, and so many recurring characters later on that didn't. So it really stands out to me, that alien.
Yeah, that's funny. I wonder why they would, devote a action figure to that character when there were more regulars coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I'll go shopping, especially with Christian. And there's all these randoms. I'm like, why would they even do that? That's so weird. But yeah, I guess it was just during that time period.
Taking advantage of the fact that Trekkies are collectors, and at that point in time, there were people who were collecting every action figure. So if we could make one, they will buy it.
Yeah.
I'm literally looking at a shelf full of them right now.
Do you happen to have that one?
I don't. No, I didn't. I didn't bother with the one-offs.
Yeah.
Busted my little guide out and see if he's in there.
Right.
Did anybody catch that the ship that they repaired to get to the wedding is a Raven, like the one 7 and 9's family was on?
Yes, I did. The NAR, that was its register as well, NAR instead of USS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it was NAR instead of NCC. It was still USS Raven.
Huh.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was. It wasn't supposed to be the Raven, was it? It was just the same class.
No, no, because the Borg got that ship.
Yeah, Oh, of course, it's in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah. But it was just throwback to that design. Oh no. Okay, I also liked Captain Freeman getting dragged into the Mark Twain stuff. I thought that was funny.
That sort of fell apart, that storyline where it's like, okay, I understand Captain Freeman would understand Mark Twain, but this alien dude's not going to know how to speak in a Southern accent or anything that Mark Twain, like that, it fell apart for me right there.
I could see that totally. I just thought it was funny
same.
listening to Captain Freeman do it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get to today's topic where we are going Fear Factor Part 3. We're going to cover Discovery Season 1, Episode 3, Context is for Kings. And we have Burnham finds herself aboard the USS Discovery, where she quickly realizes things are not as they seem, including the mysterious Captain Lorca. This is an episode that I go to a lot. I sort of skip the first two and start with Context is for Kings.
Well, as we referred to it last week, it's literally Discovery's second pilot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really strange that we actually get to episode 3 of Discovery before we actually see Discovery. So That's kind of why you can associate it as the second pilot, because that journey that Burnham's on of, with the viewer, of being introduced to everybody and everything is very kind of piloty in itself. Mm-hmm. So it's good that you get that 2-hour movie backstory from the binary stars, but we didn't need it really.
Yeah, like a prologue.
I was just going to say it's a prologue. Yeah, no, it's funny. We're using the same word, Amy. It's definitely a prologue. It's cute. It's like it should just be edited as a movie, not a 2-parter. I think that would have maybe helped a little bit. Although they did air, like they dropped them at the same time back when on CBS All Access. I think even the first episode aired on CBS. You could watch the first episode, the first part of the prologue, but then you had to be on CBS to see the second part. So
that's right.
I just remember having a huge Star Trek party at my house. I had 17 guys stuffed in my living room. Oh. Not that kind of party, different kind of Star Trek party. And CBS All Access was having connectivity because so many people were trying to watch it all at once.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I forgot that. Yes.
I think it's like, also it's worthwhile saying as well. So, day of recording today, 24th of September, is the anniversary of Discovery. So it was today that Discovery first aired. 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Discovery.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
We planned it, listeners. Don't even think. We're just acting surprised, but we planned it.
We are the podcast of happenstance. It happens all the damn time on this podcast.
It does.
Something we just talk about becomes relevant really fast. And it's like, we're clairvoyant over here at All Good Things.
We are.
I really, I was telling a friend this morning before I jumped on with you guys. I didn't look at my phone when I was rewatching that episode this morning. I was in it. I was like, wow. First off, the biggest thing I could think of is how far Discovery's come, how different it is now to where it started. But I guess that, also looking back, it was so radically different when it started. But now I've absorbed that and I've caught up to it enough that it's like it doesn't seem so radically different when I go back and watch it now. But I can see where in 2017, when we first started watching Discovery, it would have been like, well, this is not the Star Trek we grew up on, is why you either loved it or you hated it, was pretty much the fan base's attitude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't you find, though, that almost over the 4 years that we've had so far of Discovery, it's almost mellowed out a little bit and transitioned away from being so different, edgy as it was in season 1. Thank you. So when you do go back to it and it's so different, it is a little bit I remember when Discovery used to be like that. Isn't it weird?
It makes me want it more. Like, come on, let's get back to that.
Yeah, I don't know if I still feel like Discovery is its own beast. Well, everything else is like even Lower Decks is still more classic Trek. I don't know. I still feel like it's edgy and so different. Even that last season, which everyone knows is my favorite season, like it's had ups and downs, but it's still to me is very, very edgy. I think.
I mean, it's pushing the limits. I mean, look at
Yes.
season 4. I was just talking about this yesterday. Season 4 has very cerebral concepts with, species. What do we call it?
10C.
10C, sorry. We talk about this is like the movie Arrival, which is a really good movie. But one of the things about season 4 that I thought was a bit of a trope was book story in season 4. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you, the revenge side of it, the complete conflict of interest with the captain. I feel like that's why the season 4 is a little shaky with me. I love the 10C stuff. I love the concepts and thinking about language and math and all that in there, but some of the character driven lines in that season are different. I was just reading Star Trek Explorer, and there's a article with Jonathan Frakes, who has directed some of season 5, and he talks about, I was very surprised, and it's actually made the internet a little bit. He talks about season 5 getting back on track. So I almost feel like within Paramount, or within at least the director community, there is a sense that the show was not where it needed to be. I don't know.
But when he says back on track, do we mean back on track with what we've just been saying about Discovery's roots, or back on track normalizing to the rest of the franchise?
Yeah. We'll have to wait until we see season 5 or someone clarifies.
Hopefully the latter.
Yeah. I keep on hearing the Indiana Jones allegory, that this is a big adventure season and it's very reminiscent of an Indiana Jones type of thing. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But season 1, edgy.
So this episode had, I think, all the classic tropes of what makes a horror movie. And I think, so this is the third time we've done this, Fear Factor. And now I'm seeing, okay, they're sort of all the same. Like walking through dark corridors and the flashing lights and the doors opening and closing. Like you get this very typical adrenaline rush because you're scared because we don't know what's happening. The Glenn just exploded or, got damaged.
Derelict, they had an accident.
An accident. And so we see the same things. Is that the only thing that's going to scare us? Are these flashing lights and dark corridors?
Kind of tropey.
Right?
I would say we probably get a little bit more bang for our buck with this episode. If you think back to, Voyager's The Thaw with the fear, which were covered previously in this series, there's no points in that episode where I'm too afraid to look at the screen. In this Discovery, I spend as much time looking off screen as I do at the screen. I don't want to see mutilated bodies and ribs poking out of, protruding from skin, and compound fractures. To me, and I've said a lot, I don't do horror as a genre at all because I'm a wimp. I'm really, I don't find it entertaining. It raises my blood pressure. So
Kelvin, you are my friend.
So
I'm right there with you, brother.
Yeah. So with Discovery, what we've just said about finding season 1 of Discovery such a shock in 2017 when it started. I mean, it's interesting we chose this episode for the fear factor. We could have chosen several out of season 1. But yeah, the kind of, if you look at TNG's and Deep Space Nine's bat'leth battles they have, you literally don't see people getting impaled. I think it was too much for me, this episode. It's very scary. It's very apt that it fits this category.
I was extremely scared as well. And I was like, who is directing this? And it was Akiva Goldsman. And I went to his IMDb. He's done a lot of horror. Like in his, previous. So it's like he's an expert at getting your adrenaline going. It's those flashes of what do you see? Something mutilated, but you can't figure it out. Those are sort of the worst. And those, I sort of have to, put my hand up in front of my eyeballs because it's just those flashes and I like to see what am I looking at? And if I don't recognize it, then I have to study it more. And I'm like, I don't want to study this grotesque mutilated body.
Agreed, Amy. It's not, maybe I'm somewhere between the two of you on this one. I didn't mind so much that they're on the Glenn and it's dark and the sparks are there. I kind of got all that. Yeah, I don't need the bodies that have been completely. It gives me like transporter motion picture vibes. You know what I mean? They're forming kind of like in different pieces and stuff like that. I didn't need the piles of goop that were just, there's a set of teeth, there's a bone, and Stamets' friend. I know that's supposed to be powerful, but he sees his buddy, in the engineering on the Glen, and he's just in a pile or whatever. That was a little much, but I guess maybe they're trying to. Is part of it just that it was 2017 and not 2005 anymore, and expectations of TV had changed. Think about like things that we've watched in between the 12-year hiatus that TV had for Star Trek, like Game of Thrones and things like that. That's what is getting people hooked on television, were those kinds of stories, and with Star Trek trying to emulate that.
Oh, I have no doubt that's exactly what they were trying to do, and rightly so. There would have been. It's a huge gamble to relaunch something and not try to make it popular culture. I think they very quickly got out of that habit because they didn't need to once Discovery kind of found its feet and got into season 2. But yeah, looking back, it was quite stressful watching this episode. I found it's one of the scariest episodes of Star Trek.
Now, we do get some respite in between these scary scenes. And one of them, Burnham was going to make the tardigrade?
Tardigrade,
yeah.
Yep.
Have the tardigrade chase her. And so she's crawling through the Jeffries tubes. And then we get this beautiful line of dialogue where she is quoting Through the Looking Glass, Alice in Wonderland. And I was like, okay, why is she doing this? What are the benefits? And have we done something in a scary situation to sort of calm the mind?
I'm glad you just said that, Amy, because I watched that scene and I'm like, this is a little bit too in my face. Nobody would really do that. But maybe it's the Vulcan meditation technique to try to get yourself through a scary time. Like, this is something I'm doing to distract myself by quoting a book in my head or quoting a passage in order to keep me focused and keep me from my fear from taking over. I didn't think of it that way, because you just kind of helped me feel better about it, because I watched that and I was like, nobody would do that. Nobody would do that. I don't know. I can't know that. I don't know that I've ever done that myself, though. Maybe I should.
I've got what I consider a funny story from only last week. So I had a long drive, and before I went in to see my customer in a meeting, I needed the bathroom. And I don't like going straight into a customer's premises and the first thing saying, "Hi, can I use the bathroom?" Yeah. So I used an old outdoor public restroom. And it's September. It's spider season. I'm terrified of spiders. I'm such a wimp. What's wrong with me? But I was so desperate to go. There I was, stood up, relieving myself. And I looked up at the ceiling and it was covered in spiders. And it was, do I run out of this room while still peeing? So that kind of, I wasn't quoting Alice in Wonderland, but I was just saying, we faster.
Oh my gosh.
There's a very real life example.
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Very Rogue One.
So yes, you do get this chanting over and over where it's like, just stay focused, just do go the back. We.
I can't say I've ever quoted literature, but I do just have a word with myself and that repetitive, do it.
I mean, it's almost like you just have to find a way to get myopic about it and just have the blinders on and stay focused on what you need to do. And never mind what's happening around me. I think I do that when I run. I will take that back when I run, especially when I'm running a race. I have to what I do is I listen to really good music when I run, and I purposely try to pick songs. I will never pick an instrumental song to run to. I need like an anthemic song that I can get, like one that I'm going to sing along to as I'm running and forget that I'm running and focus on the music. And that is how I run. That's how I can run 10 miles at once. It's the only way I can. Mm-hmm. So I guess I do that, but music is the key to that.
Yeah. The only time, I guess being like really scared is like going to haunted houses, or back when the Star Trek experience was here in Las Vegas, they had the Borg experience, and the Borg are walking around. I was screaming, jumping. I was scared. And so in my brain, I'm just like, just walk through. Don't look, just walk through, get through this. Okay. I'm almost done. Just get through it. And but I did not quote any literature. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I can imagine you doing math problems.
Right. Well, I was watching Foundation, thanks to Mark. Good recommendation. And a couple of the characters in there count primes, and they're in the millions, and they're just counting primes, I could do that if under 100. After that, I'd get lost.
I've done that before. It's been 30 years.
Well, going into scary situations, especially when you're not familiar with people, you get a unique bond. Like you have gone through something together. And here we are, the beginning of season 1. We've got Burnham, who's definitely an outsider, coming into the crew of Discovery and going through this experience with Landry, Tilly, and Stamets. And I think that really builds their relationship, especially Burnham and Stamets, where they have this respect. I think that's where they're learning the respect for each other in this episode, because they've gone through this scary experience together. So have you developed a relationship that you probably normally wouldn't have because of a situation where you're thrown in and you have to survive together?
I was trying to think of a non-workplace example, because I've got lots of experiences in the workplace where not necessarily a scary experience, but a very troubling or disturbing, like if I've had to make a team redundant or something very unpleasant. I might have been involved in that with, someone in the HR team or a different manager who I don't normally work with, and that kind of shared trauma of the unpleasantness is what brings us together.
Right.
But the only other experience I can think of is almost like an interview situation, where not a job interview, it was like a professional interview to become fully qualified in my field. And there was like a waiting room with all the student health inspectors, which what I do for a living. And everyone was so nervous about going in for this 2-hour panel interview where you get all these scenarios thrown at you. And there's a lot of people who had their interview on the same day as me that we met on that day. And I'm still, I won't say friends, but I'm still colleagues with them through networking events. And we always kind of go back to that. Do you remember that really scary day on our professional interview? So that's an example, but nothing beyond that for me.
Yeah, I think professionally, I have a few like that. I mean, I've worked at my company now for 24 years, and I've seen some good times and I've definitely see some bad times. And, during like the housing crisis of 2008-ish, we laid off a lot of people, and it was a very traumatic time. It was a very scary time. You just didn't know when you were going to come to work, if it was going to be your day or not, or, and for those of us who made it to the other side, and now all these years later, we're still there. Those of us who are still there, it's a bond. We talk about that time like it's like we never want to do that again. So we definitely try to make our business decisions to never have us in that situation, because it was a scary time. It was an unpleasant time, and none of us want to go through that again. So we're, trying to use history to guide us to not do that. Another one I can think of is just more recently, or I've done it 2 years in a row now, where I've had to host a very, very big conference. And when I say host, be the MC. And it was a lot better the second time because I'd done it. But I think the first time was more of a rite of passage. Like, I did this, and not only did I have to put all this together, but I had to keep the show going and be entertaining and kind of have personality. And it's a very scary, nervous thing. And now that you've done it, you're kind of in this club with the people who have done it before you. Mm-hmm. And you have that bond. Hey, you did it with a rite of passage, and now you've shown you can do this. And now you're, looked at a different way. So it's kind of a, similar thing. But I guess those are my two life experiences.
Yeah, sometimes fear can be a really good thing as well. It's that kind of comfort zone, so the fear of being put out of your comfort zone, and then that sense of development, relief, pride afterwards is a great thing. So it doesn't all have to be horror related.
Yeah. I mean, that saying, old adage, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Like, if you get through the scary situation, you will come out stronger on the other end.
Oh, he's going on about Kelly Clarkson again.
Come on, Amy, let's go. We're going back, Amy.
That's right. No, I also have been in a scary situation. And you're right, Kelvin. It's mostly due to work. I moved here to Las Vegas, and my first high school, Chaparral High School, on the east side of town. And there were fights every single day. Like, this is very at-risk high school is what we say. And so here I am, and it's like, oh, there's a fight in the girls' restroom. Oh, there's a fight. Every day there was this fight. And I was like, what do I do? And the other teachers in my hallway were just like, it's okay, breathe through this. Like, they were so instrumental in helping me acclimate to this new culture and this new environment that was scary. I mean, these kids were just so mean to each other. I was working with the freshmen, and they sort of had us in a separate hallway. So I was always like looking out from my safety of the little freshman hallway. But those teachers really got me through it. And I don't think that I would have, they were teachers not in my subject area, so definitely that was an experience that bonded us. And that was back in 2009, and I'm still friends with them. Like, that bond was deep.
Well, you guys had such good stories. I don't know. The only thing I could think of was so two different examples, but they're both a little weird. So the first one I could think of was when I was really depressed and going through a lot and going to therapy, and there was a friend of mine that was going through the same kind of thing, and he was also going to the same therapist. And so we became friends that way, through this almost shared trauma that we were both going through at the same time. And then the other thing I could think of, which is sort of the reverse of that, is more kind of fun, which was I'm very afraid of heights. And I went to Mexico a few years ago with my friend Hunter, and we went to do zip lining, and I was scared out of my wits because, again, I don't like heights. But I went and did it with him, and we both had a blast. And I don't know. Like, I think the shared experience of doing that like brought us closer. And I brought him he'd never been to a gay bar before. And so I brought him to his first gay bar, and he had that first experience. And we, on that trip, tried a whole bunch of food that we never would have otherwise tried, some weird stuff. And I think that entire trip was about just going outside of our own comfort zones. And that's why it's one of like the most favorite trips I've ever been on, because it was just two friends hanging out, pushing each other to go outside of their comfort zone and live a little bit more. And it was so much fun. Loved it.
So, Mark, when you were doing that zip line and you're afraid of heights, what was going through your brain? Like, how were you able to just do it, to get on and zip down that first time? What was going through your brain?
Hang on, Hunter. It was in tandem, and so I made him go in front of me, and I was behind, so I could just sort of hold on to him. And I wrapped my legs around him pretty tight, and I held on to him pretty tight, and kind of squinted a little so I could almost see. And we did it, like I said, all afternoon, and so like the more we did it, the more I started opening my eyes up a little bit more. And then he ended up doing a couple like solo, and then I kind of did a couple solo, and it just made it easier. But yeah, it's about, I guess, the repetition and just, putting yourself out there outside of your comfort zone, make it a little bit easier. But oh my Lord, such a rush, so much fun.
Yes.
Still afraid of heights though, so I guess it didn't fix that.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's get to some assimilations and regenerations. Listeners, if you're not familiar, assimilations are things that we like, that we want to continue. Regenerations, we're sending them back, we do not like. And the first thing, I was watching this episode and I miss Landry and I miss Lorca so much. It was so good to see them. I miss them. I want to see Prime Lorca. Let's get Jason Isaacs back to Trek.
I like Lorca. I liked the character. I liked where it went. I don't know if I ever would need to see more. Like, I love. I don't know if we need to like reinvent another thing to get more of Jason Isaacs in Star Trek, but I do think he was a standout in season 1, and I really, really enjoy the character. But in Landry, it's like it was always there, right? Like I looked at the end credits and guest star, Rebecca, and I was like, she was always meant to chuck it soon.
Yeah.
But I think she goes in the next episode. But she was good.
Yeah.
I really liked Commander Landry. I think she was very much a wasted character. And I feel really sorry for Rekka, because she obviously died twice in season 1, because old Mirror Landry gets it at the end of the season as well. Spoiler. But yeah, I think I liked that really kind of stony-faced, hard personality. And they brought her back in Star Trek Online as well. So she had a bit more of a continued arc over there as well in their Mirror Universe episodes. So good character, a little bit wasted. When I was looking at the assimilations and regenerations earlier, everything was just very nostalgic for season 1, and I actually miss early Tilly. This Tilly that we meet straight away, that instant lovable character that we got, and she became everybody's favorite very early on. And I'm not saying she's developed and we've lost that lovable, well, we did lose her for quite a lot of season 4, let's face it, she wasn't there. But yeah, I just really appreciated getting to see this cute little naive cadet full of promise, rather than Captain Tilly that we get 2 years later.
Right. I was getting the same thing about Stamets. Like, I always thought Stamets was a bit of a prick in the season 1, but I also forgot that you get a lot of reason why in this episode. You get the whole, I was doing my research. I had my research buddy for 12 years. We've been working on this. I almost get more of a like a Carol Marcus vibe, in the sense that, I was doing my research and now the military is trying to weaponize it and things like that. And there's a lot of resentment towards Starfleet and a lot of resentment towards Burnham for many people view her as the reason the war started, right? And because of somebody lost or whatever you've lost, whether it was your research or whatever, it's your fault. And it's kind of unfair having context, hence, but hence the title. But yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so there's a reason Paul Stamets is, kind of a curmudgeon and bitter.
Well, I loved the chase through the Jeffries tubes. I think I mentioned that last week about this episode. I just thought that was cool. I like that she is reciting Alice in Wonderland. I get that. Sometimes, like when I'm in scary situations, maybe I'll hum a song or something, or if I'm by myself, maybe sing, which I can't do. But it does calm me down. So I could relate to that a little bit. So I like that whole scene, and I think that they did a good job with. You guys were right about the dark corridors and the flashy lights and stuff. It is a trope. I mean, that's what you see with these spooky episodes. But some of the unique things were that the Klingon there that shushes everybody. I thought that was very smart. It's actually kind of lighthearted and funny in a very dark scenario. So I appreciated that. And then Ripper being the monster that, classic Trek here, ends up not really being a monster in the end. I love that arc, and this episode is what sets that up. So cool. Yeah.
Interesting point, though, about the Klingon. Klingons aren't supposed to be fearful. They're supposed to be warriors, and that Klingon was scared. So, I mean, it's just an interesting little point. What about some nostalgia for all those, like the early uniforms? I just remember always loving those from the get-go. And, and I'm kind of sad that they're gone, but it makes sense that they're gone. But they're cute.
I really love the original Discovery uniforms, and I remember being so happy when I bought one when they first came to market. And actually, a continuity issue that I have with Strange New Worlds is when they do kind of old photographs or flashbacks. I think it was the Among the Lotus Eaters when they were doing flashbacks. They should have had the Discovery uniforms on, because they mentioned that Enterprise got the Strange New Worlds uniforms because they were brand new. So anything before season 2 of Discovery as a flashback on Strange New Worlds should show them. Obviously, there's probably licensing and things, I don't know. But yeah, I love those uniforms, always have.
I think I think you're on. I think that's a mess up, like someone's not thinking about it. Because sometimes we do see like Pike having a picture, and it's from season 2, and he's in the Discovery uniform and stuff like that. So we do see that. So I think there's just little details that are being missed, but they're definitely hot uniforms. Everyone looks good in them.
Mm-hmm. Here.
So did anybody watch this episode and be like, the clues to the mirror universe were always there?
Yes.
Especially that first meeting between Lorca and Burnham. And then Burnham leaves the room, and Lorca, just the look on his face after her back is to him, like, oh, I know you, and you're, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it was always there.
I never understood the eyes thing, the kind of sensitivity to light. It seemed to be something that was just picked up and dropped as a bad idea. I just thought it a bit odd how the mirror universe people would find it difficult to adjust to light.
They didn't really do that with
Giorgio.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It was a plot point for this episode. I think it talked about another time, but then dropped. Yeah. Sort of like Saru's ganglia.
Well, no, the ganglia stayed there all the way toward
season 3.
I want to say it was episode 3 season 2. It's like episode 3 or 4. It's like the sphere one, the sphere episode where they get the sphere data. That's where he creeps, goes through the whole process and realizes that they don't die. It's just a transformation. But I thought that one they kind of stuck to. But yeah, they do retcon this whole light sensitivity come season 2, and Giorgio is on the bridge and in section 31.
I couldn't think of anything that I'd want to regenerate. How about you guys?
Everybody was cheering on Landry and I love the actress. I mean, I've loved her in everything she's in. She's a scene stealer. She's a phenomenal actress. With that said, she was too much of a B for Starfleet. Sorry, like I don't care if you're Black Ops, you're whatever she's got going on. There was too much attitude, especially when Michael Burnham's coming on the ship with all the other criminals. She just treated them like crap. Like, well, that wasn't very Federation. Wasn't very Starfleet. My opinion. Regenerate.
Very, very true. Regenerate. But she's also very loyal to Lorca. And I almost feel like she has a thing for Lorca. Whatever you want, Captain. I think there's a line in there or something like that. And so she's just whatever. Yeah, whatever you want. And so I think there's something there where it's just like, I'm going to be this person because Lorca will like me more. That's how he would want it done. Did anybody catch the site-to-site transport, computer site-to-site transport, blah, 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 and it just happens like that? I thought that was a little bit, for 10 years prior to TOS, I didn't think we could site-to-site transport within a ship, and certainly have computer do it just on a dime. Transporters, took more time. I know Discovery is supposed to be an advanced ship, but still, I think that was a little bit of a retcon in what transporters could do for the time. So I would regenerate that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And the scene that where Lorca kind of explains to Burnham about the spore drive travel, and it's like you're on the moons of Andoria, you're on Romulus. I'm sounding like I don't understand things, but was that supposed to mean that Discovery actually very briefly jumped to those areas? Or did Burnham herself just go on her own within the spore cube?
I think he was programming a hallucination of some sort, like for her to see all that. It was very holodecky, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very not. Like they didn't, because Discovery didn't do that. So it was the way they're showing it, and she's definitely in that spore room contained, or I think it was because she was in that simulation with the spores. It was somehow giving her a hallucination of seeing that.
The kind of forward knowing how the spore drive works through later episodes and later series created the regeneration of this scene, because it kind of broke the science of, well, that's not how the spore drive works. It doesn't take a person on their own. Surely the ship would have had to go. So, yeah, I just didn't think it worked. It worked great as a plot device to explain about instantaneous travel, but it broke Star Trek's own rules of the method.
Well, I was sort of viewing it more like The Guardian, like it's flashing things. So you're in like the spores, and because of the networking, like if I go down this door, what do I see? But I'm not going, I'm just seeing the doors open on this network and just flying by, sort of like The Guardian did. So just a possibility, but not actually going there. Just more like a view screen of the spore drive. Does that make it any better?
It does. But again, to challenge that, if this was like, the happy medium between what you've just said and what Christos said about a holodeck, I feel Burnham would have just seen through that. She would have said, well, that's just a projection. You've just shown me a picture of Romulus. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was like that brief for the audience at home, for us, to follow along. But I think we could have followed along just fine. Give us a little credit. We're Trekkies. Had a big budget.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, let's get to some trivia. The multi-word title, Context is for King, is lifted directly from a line of dialogue. Very few Trek episodes speak the title within the dialogue. One other example is the original series, For the World is Hollow, and I Have Touched the Sky.
Great episode of TOS. We love that. I know Christos loved it.
I'm trying to think of so many examples now of where they've done this.
Don't they say "Remember Me" in "Remember Me"? I know they did in These Old Scientists, but but I'm pretty sure, doesn't Beverly say that at some point? Remember me, or just remember? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you not getting mixed up? Are you're not getting mixed up with Troy in Nemesis, because she says it, doesn't she, when she's
Yeah,
finding...
yeah. No, yeah, she says remember me, but I think with the last person, when Jean-Luc disappears on the bridge, she says remember. Maybe it's just the one word, not the whole title. But anyways,
the one I'm coming up with is DS9, the Inter Armin Emin silent ledges. In the time of war, the law falls silent, and Admiral Ross and Bashir actually say the name of the episode. So I got one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Emissary.
Of course.
All right.
Caretaker. Little right on the head, but yes, when it's actually like a quote or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm going to read the next one because I'm very happy to read this because I picked up on it.
Yeah.
When the episode script was initially written, it was radically different to how it eventually turned out. One such change in the writing was of the relationship between Lorca and Landry. It was actually in the script and it ended up getting cut. We were sleeping together, noted Rekha Sharma. So yeah, I totally was picking up on that. Like there was something there and they didn't get it all cut out, obviously, but she seemed like whatever. So there you go.
So that would have meant that Lorca was with Landry
and
Burnham.
Yeah. No. Well, in the mirror, yeah. So yeah, that's right.
With the other Burnham, and then
Landry in this one. Oh, he's got one in each universe. You go.
Admiral Cornwell. He was sleeping with Admiral Cornwell too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Prime Lorca had the previous relationship with Admiral Cornwell, and then Mirror Lorca just kind of picked up on it.
But it's also a manipulation thing. He had to manipulate so much to get back to the mirror universe. And so he was playing these women through relationships to get them to do what he needed to do.
Wow. That's the first time I've thought about Lorca's relationships. That's okay. Mm-hmm.
I think he's a gay man or something.
I'm going to take the next one. So at one point, Murray Wiseman was laughing, and she said about how her character provided the levity in the episode. And she says it was her idea. She said it was my idea. I wrote it so. It's all improv. And then Aaron Herberts responded that he was totally fine with it.
That's cool. I love it when like the actors get to put in their words, you know, that, oh, I'm going to say this.
I was listening to the Shuttlepod show, the Enterprise podcast, and they were all saying that Star Trek originally, in the Burnham era, it was so word perfect on the script, and they all fell about laughing, saying that if you wanted to be spontaneous and ad-lib, then the suits upstairs said, can you give us 3 weeks notice about it, please, so we can approve it in the script? And clearly in new Star Trek, it's allowed. So it must just be such a relief to an artist to be able to contribute in that way.
Especially as you get to know your character better, you probably have one of the best feels for your character and what they would or would not do.
Absolutely. Yeah, there should be some collaboration, especially when, you know, you are embodying the character week after week after week, year after year. It's like you want to, you know, take a little bit of ownership because the character does have your face. So, yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Conrad Pla, Elias Tefexis, and Grace Lynn Kung, who respectively play prisoners Stone Cold and Psycho in this episode, all played roles in The Expanse. The names of the three characters are only given in the crediting information and not said in the episode itself, but the credits comprise an inside joke, Stone Cold Psycho. That's cool.
Any of you watched The Expanse?
Oh, I did. I've seen almost all of it except for the very end. I've only seen part of the last season.
I've seen the first season, and I think I'm going to pick it back up as we are approaching a Star Trek drought. I mean, I think after the season of Lower Decks, we are going to have potentially months until we get to Discovery season 5. Mm-hmm. So unless Prodigy pops up somewhere sooner, so I think there'll be opportunity to watch here, and even Ahsoka will be kind of done, so there'll be time to watch other shows, and that's on my list of ones. Actually, the whole series was on sale on iTunes the other day for like $40, and it was like number 1. So I guess enough people like it. So let's see here. Michael Burnham is referred to as Starfleet's first mutineer. The statement appears to only include those convicted for mutiny and those who mutinied without some outside force influencing their minds. It also applies only to Federation Starfleet. Mutineers in the United Earth Starfleet had taken place before, as depicted in Enterprise Hatchery Inbound. That's
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so glad this was put in there because I took issue. Because I know, Malcolm Reed mutineered on Enterprise during season 4. So yeah, good point. A lot of nuance of, yes, they weren't taken over by an alien. It was Federation, not Starfleet. So very cleverly done. But yeah, we've seen it before.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, final thoughts on Context is for King as our Fear Factor series episode. Watching and these episodes specifically within these series, you get to see a lot of commonalities. It's just picking up with me, especially with this one about how tropey and, when I think about the Enterprise one, walking through the dark corridors, like they all have the same things. All right. So we get to pick up on it. But as we discussed, sort of like, what do you do in those scary situations, and what does Burnham do, and repeating this theme mantra to get through it, I think is very relatable, and how that we do that as well. I really enjoy season 1 of Discovery, so it was nice to come back to it. So
yeah, I agree. I think I said a lot already, but it was really nice to revisit and just kind of look at how edgy season 1 was, and was breaking some new ground. And you can see some of the retconny kind of stuff that was happening here and there that really pissed off some purists. But yeah, it was good in season 1. And I know they did some radical shifts to season 2, and then onward and onward. Every season gets progressively different. But season 1 had a really good foundation. And like I said, at some point here, I need to rewatch the whole thing.
For someone who doesn't like horror, I will say I do really enjoy this episode. I have to look away a lot, as I've already said, but I appreciated the difference, and I found it really cool at the time. I find it cool now. So yeah, I'm glad this gave us an opportunity to revisit season 1. And I am probably going to continue now and do a full season 1 rewatch. So thanks for that.
This is one of those episodes from season 1 that are kind of episodic, which is rare with Discovery. And so that's why it's usually on a rewatch list for me. Like when I'm picking out a random Discovery episode to watch, like this is one of those that I'll watch because it's a one-off. And I really enjoy that. Yeah. And like I said, it's spooky. It doesn't scare the crap out of me. I think the Gorin episode that we covered, for the first one, is definitely probably the most scariest that we've had so far with Trek. But this one definitely is scary, especially when Ripper's chasing. But not so scary where I don't enjoy it. So I think Calvin, I think we're on the same page there. We're not really into horror stuff, but this is just spooky enough. We're not too freaked out by it. I did enjoy the rewatch, and yeah, I'm looking forward to popping in more because I haven't seen Discovery in quite a while. So this might spur a rewatch for me as well.
I was going to say, Mark, you can definitely go for an all 4 season rewatch after Lower Decks is over, and then you can just kind of get in full Discovery mode. Because like I said, I think season 5 is the next thing we're going to watch in new Star Trek.
Then they said it was coming out in 2024, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping New York Comic Con's coming up. I'm hoping we're going to get an announcement of when, and probably a real a trailer. I mean, we saw a nice little clip at San Diego Comic-Con, probably like the first 5 minutes of the first episode. But I'm hoping for a more proper trailer and probably an announcement of a premiere date here coming up at New York Comic-Con.
I sense it'll be when we're on the cruise, Amy, which will be nice because we get Sonequas there, and it'll be a big celebration of Discovery, however bittersweet, with it being the end.
Yeah. Isn't Wilson Cruz and not Stamets, what's his name?
Anthony.
Yes. Rapp.
Yeah, Rapp.
Anthony Rapp, yeah. Anthony Rapp is. I don't think Wilson Cruz is going now.
Oh.
Doug Jones is. We've got Sonequa, Doug, and Anthony.
And Mary Chieffo.
Oh, yes. And have we got Book as well? Is he going?
David Ajala?
I think so. I may have made that up. I might be plugging. I'm making false announcements about the cruise guests.
Wishful thinking about seeing him in the pool.
If he's going, we need to definitely let Rhea know, because then she'll for sure sign up.
Yeah.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, and Kelvin. Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. If you're lost in the Delta Quadrant, check out The Captain's Couch, a Star Trek Voyager podcast hosted by Jeremiah sitting on Janeway's Ready Room couch. Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark, Matt, and Laz. Beam Aboard the Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Amy, Joe, Rhea, and Kevin. History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissie and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissie and Thad. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Union Federation, covering all things Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Star Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Spill the Tea with What's the Tea, Bev? A Trek current events and fan interview show hosted by Christos. And for our Patreon members, we have The Hive Mind, BQN's monthly roundtable discussion with hosts and listeners. It's Green, a cornucopia of topics hosted by Mark, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek, hosted by Amy. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
So we hope you'll join us next week for the continuation of our Undercover series, Part 5. Can you believe Part 5 already? Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 7, Gambit. And I believe that's a two-parter, right? We got Part 1 and Part 2. So we got double the homework. And I also believe that's the return of Robin Curtis to Star Trek as well. Yes, this time playing, I believe, she's Vulcan or Romulan, Matt?
She's a Romulan pretending to be a Vulcan.
There we go. So
this is one of the few titles that jump out at me where I'm like, oh, I know that episode. And that does almost never happens. So I'm like, oh yeah, I know Gambit.
And it's actually, a really good undercover one. There's some deep undercover stuff going on in that episode. So it's a good, it's the series well.
Very good. We would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join our Facebook group, BQN Collective, to continue our discussion there. You can also reach us at All Good Pod on Twitter X and Blue Sky. Please follow the network on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram at BQN Podcast. We have also partnered with our friends at the Fandom Podcast Network, where you can find us by searching their master feed. So, Christos, where can people find you when you are avoiding all things horror except when it's Trek?
You can find me in the BQN Collective on Facebook, as always. You can find me on X, whatever we call it, Instagram, at Greek SD, and also over on What's the T-Bev. And Kelvin, where can people find you when you aren't intership transporting through the computer?
You can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook group also, or you can come for me on Instagram, Twitter, Threads at Kelvin's Timeline. And Mark, where can people find you when you're not being torn inside out in a dark room on the USS Glenn?
Oh my God, that sounds like the perfect Saturday night. When that's not happening. Hello. You can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook page. You can also find me on my show Cinema Z, discussing movies, and you can find me on Blue Sky at MW207. And Amy, where can people find you when you are not a little stressed out but calming yourself down by counting primes?
Well, when I'm not doing that, hopefully I don't need to be stressed out anytime soon. You can find me, of course, here on the network where I am co-hosting Union Federation. I am in the BQN Collective on Facebook and Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson. Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and a written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching BQN.
At this time, we'd like to thank our associate producers, Mahendran Radhakrishnan and Tim Cooper. A special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and to Mark White for our artwork each and every week.
If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. We'll add you to the Hive Mind Facebook group so you can enjoy It's Green, Amy's Math Moments, and other network perks with a monthly subscription of $5 or more. You can join our meetings on the Hive Mind Roundtable discussion on the second Saturday of each month. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us
as we search out
all good things.